Hey guys, Footy Focus Podcast, episode 13, round, I think it's a 12 review, isn't it now? Round 13 preview.
Yeah, so a lot of teams have played 11 and 12 games. So there's still a few more buys, but it's the last day of the footy frenzy. So there's a 4-day break after.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get used to. I think the Suns are playing the Tigers tonight, and then, yeah, like you said, 4 days without footy after 20 days straight.
It's good to have a bit of a breather. So we'll talk about our games. I think you guys had a disappointing loss. The Kangaroos had a surprisingly game. And we'll talk a bit about some topics. Maybe we touch on the Swans, Essendon, and a couple of controversial free kicks, you could say.
Yeah, game winners and, yeah, the umpires seem to be. We try to steer clear of the umpires, but, yeah, can't avoid it this week probably.
Yeah, all right. So we might kick things off with you, talking about Adelaide, because I think you watched all of this game.
Yeah, yeah, it's first Friday night footy. I think it's first Channel 7 game we've had maybe this year, I think in total, apart from the showdown. So, yeah, very disappointing loss, 10-goal loss to the Cats, who are probably the most informed team of the comp. And I think every week there seems to be a flag favourite, a new one, and I think the Cats are definitely that one this week. So.
Sucks having a prime time game and the team let you down. We've been on the receiving end of those this year. For some reason, the AFL just fixtured us for a couple of Saturday night games when we were down on form and we got belted both times. So, so you guys got smashed.
Obviously, the story of the night was probably Tomahawk. Probably the best individual performance of the year. 6 goals, 7 contested marks, 2 goal assists. 12 out of his 17 possessions were score involvement. So, yeah, absolutely torched us. I think kicked the first 2 goals of the night. It was, story of the night thereafter. So I think Tommy Cleary he's an above average fullback, but he does have a few shockers a year. He got kicked 5 on him by Hipwood earlier this year, and then obviously Hawkins on Friday night. A bit surprised it took until I think the third quarter where we switched Jonas on him. And yeah, the strategy I think just needs to change as well. Talked about Port adjusted in game against the Giants to pull off a win in the last quarter, and yeah, it just didn't happen until it was too late. So yeah, you got to play him from behind, and yeah, if there's no pressure upfield, then yeah, drop a loose man back. So did you catch any of it?
Because I saw a little bit of it, and it looked like whenever they kicked the ball above the defender who was playing in front, Hawkins just had too much of an advantage with his body positioning and experience to take the mark.
Yeah, exactly right. So I wouldn't blame Cleary and Jonas too much because there was a lot of one-on-one contests, and a lot of that, I guess, applies on the supply and the pressure upfield, which there was none on the weekend. So, Danger as well. I thought he was pretty special. His best field kicking I've probably seen because he tends to blaze away a fair bit, and he had 3 goal assists on the weekend. I guess
he's not known for his field kicking. He's sort of that best wins the inside, but yeah, I heard on the radio as well that he field kicking was good, and Cam Guthrie was also good.
Yeah, he's had a really good year. I think he was highlighted when he took that hanger against the Eagles and played on and got holding the board at a pretty pivotal time in the match. But yeah, he was apart from Hawkins and Danger, he was best on, I thought. I guess contrary to the Hawkins supply, Port just kicked to 1 on 2 on 3. I think Harry Taylor and Henderson used their footy smarts, and it was Dixon was pretty much outnumbered the whole game, and I think he was touchless at halftime as well, which pretty much summed up our night. And I think the reliance on him needs to change a fair bit because we just kicked to him 1v2, 1v3. So you got players like Robbie Gray, Rosie to come back, Marshall, Giorgio. Like you got to hit those players up instead of just relying on him, because if that's the strategy, if he has a quiet game, you're pretty much out. Even in top 4, you're out in straight sets if that continues.
Yeah. If I were a Port supporter, I wouldn't be too worried though. Like Geelong, they have like arguably the best defense in the comp, even better than Richmond's and West Coast last couple of years. So, and your forward line is sort of inexperienced, I would say. And you do miss Marshall. I think Marshall provides that perfect sort of secondary forward, and we can't rely on Georgiades to consistently play like he did a couple of weeks ago. So I think every team has a downer. So this is probably Ports. Had a good win last week, so just need to do better this coming rebound against Hawthorn.
Yeah, I think definitely right about Joe. I think Marshall will come back in for finals hopefully, and I don't think that Ladham's Lysett combination can play against the top sides too. So there's probably a few selection changes as well.
Would you drop Motlop? He had 5 possessions and went at 40%.
Yeah, he's back in after I think probably a month out. So he tends to either be in the votes or doesn't touch much of it, but. I think with Rosie coming back after his heel, I think you'll probably find Motlop comes out of the team.
Yeah, drop Motlop. Other than his, I think, first game, he hasn't done much all year.
Yeah, I think the showdown was his only good game, pretty much.
Guys like and Pal Pepper, Darcy Byrne-Jones have gone past Motlop, so you don't need that type of player. You can replace him with, I don't know, maybe more inside player or like a utility.
Yeah.
Is it Houston? No. What's that guy's name?
Farrell.
Houston. Dan Houston.
Yeah.
Maybe move him to the midfield and find another defender. And lastly, just Jack Watts. Is he not getting a game because he's not good enough?
Yeah, a bit surprised he hasn't got a game. I think Sam Mays was pretty good for the first couple of weeks, but after his one match suspension, he was probably nearly our poorest player of the night. So I'd like to see, Houston, like I've said the last couple of weeks, move Houston into the midfield. Replace Mays with Watts because you got better ball use and more composure coming out of the back half.
Yeah. All right. We might move on to the Kangaroos game.
Yeah, so you guys actually had a decent performance on the weekend.
Yeah, a bit unexpected because I think the footy world and even myself, I was expecting a comprehensive win to the Lions, but the Lions were a bit off all game, and I think our players definitely put in more effort, and the intent was a lot better. So that coupled together resulted in a very close game. I don't think we deserved to win it or anything. The Lions probably should have won by 4 or 5 goals. They were just inaccurate as they've been all year. And we were able to hang in there.
Did you think you were a chance at any stage, or it was just Lions were probably too good?
We were a chance with 2 minutes to go when Zaha had a chance of kicking a goal from the pocket, but he missed. He kicked one after the siren. That's why the margin was only a point. But in reality, we lost by 7. But it was good. Our midfield took it up to them. Niels, also Ryan, they were good, but they weren't dominant, I don't think. Link McCarthy was good.
Yeah.
And then I guess Witherden was all right with his ball loose.
So who are you playing in the midfield? Because obviously the Lions midfield is one of the deepest in the company. Obviously missing Cunnington and Polak as well.
Yeah, missing Cunnington, Polak, Zeeble, and also Higgins started. Higgins essentially played on the wing for the whole game. He captained that game as well because we had a couple of leaders up. But Anderson, Simpkin, Dumont were the main 3, I'd say. And then they rotated Davies, Uniac, Scott even through there as well, who all showed a bit. So, I mean, Anderson was probably best on ground. He's just really good defensively. He might not be the most polished kick, but he was just hard at it. And McDonald was good, and I thought Atley was pretty good as well. There's been a bit of heat on him, so I thought he did okay.
And how did Goldie go?
Yeah, Goldie was good again. He's having a consistent year. So I think 18 touches, 83%, and 23 hitouts. So couple of goal assists, I think, as well. He should have kicked a goal, but they played it paid advantage and kicked it. Do you reckon it's between him and Nick Nat for the All-Australian?
Yeah, I think you could probably play 2 in the All-Australian team. I think you can't really split the two of them. I wouldn't want to leave one of them out. They've easily been the most dominant two ruckmen.
Yeah, the selectors last couple of years have gone for two, haven't they? Gorn and so I don't think those two have been as good as goals in anything.
No.
Yeah.
They've had more. These two have had more impact on the game rather than 50, 60 hit outs and not hit outs to advantage like Gorn and Grundy, like you were just talking about.
Mm-hmm. Out of the negatives, I had one more positive was just the amount of changes we made. Like Reshaw made 6 changes, which was we're not used to that. So he brought in guys like Ed Wickers, Willis, Murphy, Will Walker, and I thought they all showed something. So not all of those fringe players will be on the list next year, but it's a good opportunity to stake their claim to get a contract extension. Out of the negatives, Mason Wood was just terrible. He was the reason we lost, essentially. He dropped a chest mark, like an uncontested chest mark, and then missed a handball. And I think he's pretty much done. Like, delist him end of the year.
Is he under contract or is he out of?
He's out of contract. He signed a long-term 4-year deal, 4 years ago. Just hasn't lived up to what he's capable of. So he's just a confidence player, and when he's down on confidence, he's really bad.
Yeah.
And Will Walker came back. I thought he was good, Will Walker. I think he had 15 touches to halftime, and then he did his hamstring. So it was a bit of an injury-prone player, but hopefully he can get back. And also, Polak, your boy. He's disappointment. So he got dropped again for the second time this year. Do you reckon we can trade him? Because he's one of those players that he's super talented and he's good for a team that has like good players around him.
Yeah, I think. So he was dropped. I think after the Carlton game, was he on the in back for one match and then dropped again, or 2 matches?
I think 2. Maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's only in for 1 or 2 matches. So, he's definitely his skill hasn't gone out the window. Like that's still his dominant skill, and definitely a good midfield with some need on the outside could definitely use it. So he's definitely got currency, but I think the dollars is probably the issue. Like you don't want to have to pay part of his contract. I think as the Roos, because he's got probably 2 years left, doesn't he? After this year,
might be 3, 2 or 3.
Okay.
But he's on like 700, 800. I reckon no club's going to take him unless we do play some of it. So it'd be interesting because he's I think he's 27 at the start of next year, and depending on how many senior players we let go, we might have to keep him. But I wouldn't mind if we can get maybe early second rounder. We might, I don't know, look at that. All right, cool. That's enough on that game. Should we go move on to the hot topic?
Yeah, and I'll just touch on Luke Davies-Uniacke too. So he's getting a bit of press these days as well. So he's had a good probably month, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's getting better with every game. On the weekend, he didn't have as many touches as he did last week. I think he had 15 on Saturday, but he had 25, I think, the week before. But he was able to break the contest apart a bit this week. Like he took the ball and took them on and broke the line. So we don't see that from a lot of Kangaroo players, but I think he's very eye-catching when he does that. So hopefully he can find the confidence in his body and his ability, and he can take the game on. So Matthew Lloyd was quoted saying in his juniors he used to get it 30 times and kick bags.
He said he had Chris Judd-like explosiveness too, so that's a big rap from him.
I don't like it is. I don't like comparing people to Chris Judd because I think Sean Apps is compared to Chris Judd. But it's he's got potential, so hopefully we can build a midfield around him so he can start these sort of guys.
Taranto, as well.
Yeah.
Taron Thomas, I should say.
Taron Thomas, So we might get another high-end pick this year. I think it's not all doom and gloom like the media was saying a couple of weeks ago. All right. Do you want to talk a bit about the Giants in our hot topics?
Yeah, so I think Leon Cameron's getting that 2-year extension that they, I think, agreed upon before COVID. So they're not in the 8 at the moment. And, yeah, I think the performance on the weekend was, pretty deplorable, especially after the near loss against the Bombers. So I think 3 goals from 52 inside 50s, all 3 goals are from free kicks. You just saw senior player after senior player miss tackles. I mean, the Cornelio one's been highlighted straight out of half-time after he called the effort hopeless for the first half. So I don't think you can renew him if they don't make finals. I mean, it's probably a done deal, but with the talent they got, I understand they have injuries, but I mean, they've probably got even without it, they've got one of the best lists in the comp. So, yeah, to miss finals, don't think he should be renewed, but he probably will be anyway.
So they need to find a new driver for the Ferrari, as they keep referring them to.
Yeah, he's had long enough, surely. Like, I know they've won finals each of the last 4 seasons, but even
last year, they sort of found form towards the back end of last year, and sort of it was a surprise grand final appearance, which they got smashed in.
Yeah, well, they finished 6th, so didn't get a double chance, and then Lions was, I think, 3 points, and then Collingwood was maybe 3-point victory too. So they smashed the Dogs, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably going to be an unpopular decision if he doesn't get renewed, but yeah, I don't know what choice they have.
Yeah, if they don't, I reckon someone like Ross Lyon might be a good coach, because he normally takes the team in their prime and does pretty good. So
makes the most out of them,
yeah. So yeah, I think we can talk about their list all day, but just one player, Jeremy Cameron. Like, I know there's a freeze on contracts, but if he leaves, then I think it'll be an interesting time, because they don't have that much depth in terms of tall forwards.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you about the Pies. Do you think they've been ruled out of premiership contention too early?
No, I think it's about right. I think they've just got too many injuries. Not being in Melbourne doesn't help. Too many distractions, like with everything that's going on. I know a lot can change in a week. They could bounce back and have a couple of really good backs against the walls type wins. But yeah, their injury list is massive, and Tagoe makes a huge difference. Stevenson's been dropped. They don't have any goals.
Yeah, I think Tagoe's probably the one to come back in Langdon, because Howe's not going to come back till next year. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, pretty disappointing loss on the weekend too, to lose by 10 goals.
Yeah, and I don't know if they have the luxury of us playing more as a forward, because their backline's pretty thin as well, with Lyndon Dunn, who's has missed a lot of footy, and the rest are just inexperienced.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they'll make finals?
I think I couldn't say they're missing out, but it might be either the Pies or Giants. One of those two teams miss out. So it's I don't know. I don't think both.
Melbourne's coming, so
yeah.
I want to talk a bit about the Swans. Like, I watched that Swans Giants game. Yeah. And do you reckon the Swans have the best youngsters in the comp? Like, out of the proven ones, I might let you sort of name some of the proven ones that you think will make the call.
Yeah, I think the list here is pretty. I mean, I would have said no initially, but the list is pretty deep. Like Heaney, Mills, Dawson, Florent, Hayward, they're probably the main, I guess, the core. And Dawson too, like, he's probably nearly the best field kick in the game, probably the best field kick in the team. We've got a few potential stars too.
Yeah, so most of these guys are under 23, the ones you named. And like Blakey had his best game. Rowbottom's got something. Stevens and Will Gould they got, who's a bit of work to do, but he looks promising. And they're going to get 2 more sort of top end picks this year. And they could even get a third if they sort of if no one bids for Campbell early. So yeah, And then they've got these lesser likes like Bell, Foot, Wicks, Warner, Ling, Elijah Taylor, and McLean, who's a tall forward. So they've got a good mix, I reckon, of tall, smalls. And I can see them having the best sort of crop of youngsters outside of maybe who else is there? Gold Coast, maybe, or the Giants.
Yeah, I think Longmuir's done pretty well. Like they're obviously having a down couple of years, probably the only ones they've had in Longmuir's reign. And you've obviously got, Franklin's going to come back at some stage too, so maybe he can hopefully have a couple of years when these players, develop up a bit more, and they can make finals.
Yeah, and the senior players are leading the way as well. So unlike the Kangaroos senior players, these players like Parker, Sinclair, Papley, Kennedy when he plays, they're all rampy. They're all sort of honest players that actually produce good games more often than not.
Yeah, I think they're probably still missing a key tall, like a tall. Like Rampy obviously plays above his height. Melican, I think you said he's 195 centimeters, but he hasn't. If he doesn't develop, I know they had Michael Talia a while back, so I think they're probably still missing that key tall. But the youngsters look really promising. They can probably trade a few out maybe to get that tall or a key forward when Franklin retires.
Yeah, so they're Campbell's a short player. Smaller type in this draft, so they might use their best pick on a tall. Because Aliyah, I think he's like mid-20s. He's not that young. Yeah. He's more of your third tall, I suppose. Okay.
So you think we should change the format of the fixture moving forward?
Potentially. Like Dangerfield came out earlier, I think last week, and said players have transitioned well to playing more games in a shorter period with the shortened quarters. I think I've gotten used to the length of the quarters now. I think initially I wasn't I thought they were a bit short and teams couldn't bridge the gap. But now I think we're adapting. How do you feel for that?
I think it's definitely the quantity over quality. I think quality over quantity actually. Like 16-minute quarters. It brings the best out. There's less rotations. The better players spend more time on the ground. So I don't have a problem with it anymore anyway.
Yeah, if their skills are better, I think the skills are improving. They're a bit off start here, but it's unfortunate. Like the players with big tanks, we might see the end of those. But if it means that we get players with better skills, then I think it's a good thing. But if they play more games, I reckon they play 22 games in a normal season. Do you reckon they should play maybe 27 or so?
Yeah, I think Dangerfield floated that idea. I think 27 is probably too much. I think 17's like the minimum. Every team plays each other once. You can probably add a few derbies and rivalry games to it, but I wouldn't want to increase it past the 22.
Because I reckon if they do go 17 plus, we will play half of the competition. You play half of the teams again. And then the following year, you play the other half of the teams again. Then, so if you have this 2-year cycle where you play each team.
So it evens out, I guess, over. You're not doing it every year. You're doing it every second year.
Yeah, so every 2 years you play each team twice. And you can have maybe the rivalry be 4 times. But it's just something to think about commercially.
Yeah, it's good for Port. If you got playing the Crows twice a year is a pretty handy prospect the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I think there's always going to be inequities, but it's not a bad suggestion at all.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It'll be good if some positives come out of this strange year that improves the experience and the entertainment factor.
Yeah.
A couple of free kicks that were awarded that were a bit controversial. Did you see the Newnes one against?
because they paid it out of the bounds on the full free initially, and then I think one of the umpires overruled that decision. So, like, I personally I didn't think it was a down the field free. I don't think it was sufficient contact. But what about you?
Like going back, Taberner hitting the ball out of bounds, that was there. It was
100%
that
there.
was there. He should have just picked it up and got tackled over, or
just smack the ball forward as well. Like, even get a deliberate out of bounds 20, 30 metres up the field, maybe. So,
do something, because that wasn't good enough for like an experience. He's 27 years old. He should know better.
Yeah.
And he didn't stand. He didn't he wasn't on the mark, and then Doherty played on, and then Brayshaw had to come and smother. And I agree with you. I think that happens like a lot in a game, right? Like, you just momentum, you just collide.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of them don't get paid, and obviously the other part of it was Newnes wasn't the closest player to the ball as well. It was Gibbons, so that probably changes. That probably changes the result as well.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with the umpire with the Brayshaw decision. Like, that's subjective, right? Like, you could interpret that.
Yeah, right.
Something like giving it to Newnes, which is sort of black and white. Like, you can see who's closer. It's not like it's subjective. So I think that umpire, he probably shouldn't play. Oh, he shouldn't umpire the next game.
Yeah, it's probably an omission for 1 week. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to think that umpires, could be held accountable, but unlucky. But it was a pretty low scoring game. So Freo couldn't have been able to kick more goals. What about I think Newnes? I can't say his name. He took the umpire paid him the free. Told him it was his. Because reports were going around that Newnes conned the umpire into the kicks. So if players do con the umpire into anything, do you reckon that's unethical, and should they be fined or anything?
I'd say a fine probably at most. I mean, you don't want that in the game, but you're right. Like, Newnes said, the umpire said it's your ball. Like, he didn't need to argue or debate it. So, umpire error. But I agree. I think a fine's probably necessary because that influences the result. When both teams aren't probably going to finals, but 4 points is a big deal.
Yeah, I understand it's hard to adjudicate and punish a player for conning, because how do you know? Like, they could just say they honestly saw it, but I think the more honesty we get in, the better. Touch of the boot, that sort of thing. Doubt it'll happen though. I think players are too competitive.
What about the Heath Shaw free kick?
Yeah, this one wasn't that publicised, but essentially the ball was going into, I think, Sydney's forward line, and then Heath Shaw pushed a Giants player in the back before the Sydney player marked it. Another player. So the mark was in a better angle to goal than where the push in the back occurred. Because the push in the back occurred first, the umpire had to pay that, and that was closer to the boundary. So I think there's a loophole there. Players can exploit that, so they need to close that.
Definitely sounds like a professional free kick by the experienced Shaw.
I reckon it's hard to professionally give away those free kicks in the heat of the game unless you're really smart. I reckon it's more of an accident. But professional free kick. I think the commentators use that too loosely. But they need to fix that up, because it definitely should have been. You give it to the more advantage.
It's like an advantage rule. If the player kicks the goal after a free kick's been paid, you paid the goal. You don't give the guy the set shot.
So that could happen in the grand final. They need to look into that. We might touch on Essendon. Maybe I'll get you to talk a little bit about where you think the Essendon list is at after they got pretty well beaten by St Kilda on the weekend.
Yeah, I think they're still maybe 2 points outside the 8, but percentage is 86. I think you can rule out finals.
Yeah, they won 3 games this year under 6 points to bottom team. So they could easily be in the bottom 4 this year.
Yeah, I think the Danaher one's like the key one. You've got to get some resolution there. Either sign him up or trade him out. And if you trade him out, you need a key forward. Like you can't survive on. Yeah, Stringer's not really your number one key tool. I mean, Stringer at his best plays burst through the midfield as well. James Stewart's a handy one, but he's not again number one. You've got players like McKenna. Like, is he going home? Doesn't look like he's I guess invested fully. I mean, they've got some good young players. Like Ridley's probably all Australian, hopefully, if they reward a first good year. Yeah, Parrish, McGrath, like Merritt, like their midfield's still fairly strong. I think they just need, and even Draper too. I think Draper's a pretty good option as your number one tall as well. But players like Zacharakis and Belchamp, we've talked about them. Like they should probably get let go as well to move on. And Rutten as well. He's going to be coached next year. Maybe just bring it forward 4 or 5 weeks. Just get a head start on next year.
Yeah, like I reckon they're in a similar position as the Kangaroos. Like a couple of weeks ago, people were calling for a rebuild, and I think Essendon are in a similar or worse position than the Kangaroos. Because with us, I see that we've got maybe more young potential talent than Essendon. I've got to be careful what I say here because I said the same thing about Richmond maybe about 10 years ago. Before they compared us to Richmond. But yeah, outside of the McGrath, Ridley, Parrish, Langford, those guys, there's a lot of question marks over the players you just named, plus maybe Tipper, McKernan, Devin Smith. He did win their best and fairest a couple of years ago, but having a bit of a down year. And yeah, apart from that, there's not a lot to get excited about. Guys like Hurley, Hooker, they're past their best, might retire soon. So they need to, they've got a few holes in their list. They haven't had many first round draft picks last few years because they've been trading for players.
Yeah, well, Shield's a big one. Obviously, they traded 2 first rounders.
Shields, Stringer, Sard, all these guys. Devin Smith. There could be a bit more pain for the Essendon. I know things can change quickly, but I agree with you for Danaher. What should they accept? Because it feels like he's leaving.
Yeah, like last year was 2 first rounders, right? Like, can you ask for a first rounder for a player that hasn't played for 12 months? You probably can't ask, but whether you get it or not.
I mean, if Ben Brown is worth like an end of first rounder, then Danaher would be the same, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think it's probably like age with Danaher, and I think the upside's stronger. But I mean, Ben Brown's proven. Like Ben Brown's 3 consecutive years of 60 goals.
Yeah, upside with Ben Danaher, it is more than Ben Brown. He's got more tricks, but the injuries and that side of things.
Yeah,
I think they're similar age. It's I reckon they're both around that late teens, mid to late teens.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And who are the Roos playing this week? Just touch on that quickly.
Yeah, we play the Magpies in Metricon, I think. On Monday night in a week's time. This will be a close game, I think. A danger game if we want to finish lower on the ladder.
Reverse danger game.
Yeah, because both teams have injuries, so I think it'll be close. I probably expect the Pies just, but it's a game that I could see us win. Like if Larky's, we don't have too many goals, especially with like Taylor out. Maybe if our midfield can kick a few goals, we might be able to cause a bit of an upset. But I think, because we're such a young team. I think we had half of our team had played less than 30 games.
Yeah.
So,
that's the rebuild.
Yeah, essentially rebuilding on the run. So, but the Pies don't have many goal kickers either, so it might be a bit of a low scoring scrap. But I reckon maybe Pies by like 10 points. Pies in midfield maybe can if they get on top.
Yeah. So it could be, it looks like a good game anyway, the way the Pies are going at the moment.
I mean, it's a must win for the Pies, so they want to make something they need to win.
Yeah, it is a must win. Exactly right. If you want to play finals.
And you guys have Hawthorn, undermanned Hawthorn at times.
Yeah, so Sicily obviously out with the ACL today. That news got confirmed, so that's a huge out for them. He's probably their trump card, their one trump card at the moment, Sicily. So Saturday twilight at Adelaide Oval, and need to get back on the winning board if we want to cement, I guess, top 4 or top 2. It's going to be pretty crucial with we don't know where the finals are at the moment, so hopefully that gets announced in the next week or so we have a bit of clarity over that.
So that's in Adelaide, yeah? So, okay. Yeah, I expect Port to bounce back. Hawthorn, they're not, like, very consistent. Like, I think their midfield, they get a lot of the ball to do much of it. Forward lines a bit inconsistent, back lines pretty average. Not a lot to get excited there. But Will Day is one player that promised. He's had a good start to his.
Yeah, he looks very bright. One of the few first rounders the Hawks have picked up in the draft, and he looks really good.
Yeah, I think it was one player that we talked about a bit last year leading into the draft, and I thought he was a good user, and he's translated that pretty well so far. So looking forward to seeing how he plays. It's a South Australian too. All right, wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up. We'll catch you guys next week, and hopefully both our teams will have a win this time next week.
All right. Thanks. See you guys.
See ya.